Jack. Cheers, Minny. Okay. The drink of the podcast tonight, we went with, I feel like I say this every other podcast or every couple podcasts, but we're going with a Poppi soda, but we're going with a flavor that I swore I've had on here before, but guess I haven't, and it is the raspberry rosé or raspberry rose. My sister says it's raspberry rosé. I'm going to call it the raspberry rose, and I'm indifferent about it. It tastes thicker than most of the poppies, making it almost seem kind of like a slushy or like an ice cream bar from the freezer or something like that. I don't hate it, but it's not the worst drink we've had on the podcast. But at the same time, if I'm looking for a soda to drink and kind of sip on and savor, I'm probably not going to gravitate to this. That's okay. Also a little bit, tart for my liking. And we've talked about that before. I'm not much for tart here on the podcast. So yeah, some of you may be asking, what is Poppi, that are new? But their big slogan is soda's back, hashtag soda's back. They are essentially branding themselves as a healthy alternative to soda. What is Poppi? On their website, it says, we all know soda can be delicious. It's undeniable, but most sodas are loaded with empty calories and excess sugar. So we decided to make a better one. Poppi is a modern soda that combines 5 grams of sugar, ingredients you can love, and prebiotics to give you all the soda feels without the baggage. So yeah, every one of their sodas is made with prebiotics, apple cider vinegar, 5 grams of sugar or less, 35 calories or less, with their flavorings and all that kind of stuff. Not only are they branded as kind of good for you, but they're good for your gut health. So again, for those that have been here for a while, you may remember this, but for those that are new, I do not recommend having more than maybe 2 a day. If you're wanting to have 2 poppies a day, I would recommend having like one before noon and maybe your second one with like dinner or something like that. Like they're like fiber bars or stuff like that. Like you're not supposed to have that many of them. They will upset your stomach if you have too many of them, and believe me, I'm telling you that because I did in fact learn the hard way. I really like them. If you go on their website, it's just drinkpoppi.com. You can shop all of their different flavors. They actually have some merch you can get too. They just came out with some new stuff this for the summer that you bet your ass we're going to try here. Already have some stocked in the fridge waiting to get going. A little bit on their story where you can find them, why Poppi, all that kind of fun stuff. I'm just going to come out. I'm going to give it a 4.7. Like I said, it doesn't have a bad taste. I'm not particularly a fan of the tartness. It seems like the tartness is kind of more the initial taste and kind of goes away rather quickly. It's just, yeah, it's not my favorite flavor. It's a little thicker, which I was not expecting. And yeah, 4.7. Not one of my favorites. Go check them out. You can find them on Instagram and TikTok and drinkpoppi.com. So that is what I have for you guys. And then Tommie Town, we actually have a couple of things to go over. So as far as Tommie Town is concerned, back on Monday the 3rd, history was made as St. Thomas was instated as a full Division 1 member. Some of you might be asking, Jack, they've been one. What exactly does this mean? All this means now is that they can officially start giving out athletic scholarships, as well as like the main 2 things are this: they can start giving out athletic scholarships, and they are postseason eligible. So should the football team win the Pioneer Football League or beat North Dakota State at the end of the year and get ranked and do that, they can play for the national championship in the bracket, similar to the men's hockey team. If the men or women's hockey teams or basketball teams win the Summit League or get ranked high enough, they can play in March Madness or in the Frozen Four, stuff like that. Those are essentially the main things. It says, like I mentioned, they announced this back on Monday evening. Following a vote by the NCAA Division I Board of Directors, St. Thomas has officially completed its reclassification process, making the university a full member of the NCAA and the only NCAA member to reclassify directly from Division III to Division I. With the approval, we're now fully eligible to compete in postseason play, including NCAA tournaments and championships, like I mentioned. It says, went on here, in the first 4 years of Division I competition, St. Thomas has excelled in multiple venues, winning 4 conference championships from 2021 to 2025. The Tommies additionally saw both its men's basketball and hockey programs advance to championship rounds in their respective conference tournaments, while several teams found success on and off the playing surface in the first 4 years. which is pretty 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 awesome and really cool to see them kind of get going and actually have stuff to play for now, because now they can actually go out and give these athletic scholarships to players that they feel deserve them and come to them and say, hey, we're postseason eligible now. Like, we actually have stuff to play for, which is another bargaining chip. I mean, you look at how good the men's basketball team and the men's football team and the men's hockey team have been, despite being able to tell these guys, hey, we really love you, would love for you to come play for us, but we can't play in the postseason. So to see them be that good and not have that promise, unbelievable. So super excited, super hopeful that the Tommies can win the Pioneer Football League and see them in postseason play for their first opportunity. So that is what happened. And then just yesterday, Wednesday, when we were originally going to do the podcast, it was announced that the St. Thomas men and women's basketball teams will host Army in the Lee and Penny Anderson Arena opener for the basketball teams. Director of Athletics Phil Eston announced they will open the 25-20 home schedule on Saturday, November 8th at the new Lee and Penny Anderson Arena. St. Thomas will play host to Army West Point, the alma mater of the philanthropist Lee Anderson, which I did not know. It'll be the first ever meeting between the two teams, where Lee Anderson played both football and basketball as a young cadet. And yeah, it'll be really, really fun. It'll be nice to see them in action. I'm inclined to think both of these teams will start at least a couple games on the road, as last year, November 8th, that's about a week into the season. And the women's team last year started on, I guess, November 4th. So they may only have a couple ones. And then for the men's team, last year, I want to say they got started a little bit later. Nope, they still got started on the same time too. So may have a game or two before the home opener, but the home opener times have not been announced yet. So stay tuned for that. And then lastly, the men's hockey team welcomed 15 newcomers. That was announced earlier today. We're not going to do a deep dive into everybody, but we will say it includes 10 first-year players and 5 NCAA transfer portals. The 5 NCAA transfers are Alex Gaffney from West Orange, New Jersey, forward, transferring from Harvard. In 100 games across 4 seasons for them, he totaled 42 goals, 42 assists, for 84 points in 155 games played for them. And then Dylan Galbaut, home backyard kid from Woodbury, Minnesota, went to my alma mater, Hill Murray, is transferring from Ohio State. He is coming over. He won the Minnesota State High School Hockey Tournament with Hill Murray in the 1920 season. And then he actually played 89 games for the Sioux City Musketeers. And yeah, it'll be nice having him home. And then there will be Carson Muser, goalie from Colorado. He was selected by the Arizona Coyotes in the 2023 NHL draft, posted playing for the World Championship team, U17 and U18 teams, which is pretty sweet. The fourth transfer is Charlie Schoen from Andover, Minnesota, transferring from Arizona State, which is pretty sweet. Skated in 60 games for them, scoring 13 goals, 22 assists, and 35 points. And then the last one is Nick Williams, an Edina, Minnesota native from Michigan Tech. He, fun fact, also skated alongside former Tommy Liam Malmquist at Edina, which will be pretty cool. And then the 10 newcomers, Bauer Berry from Grand Forks, North Dakota, 6'4" defenseman. They're Josh Goulian, Plymouth, Minnesota. Hayes Hundley, Upper Arlington, Ohio. Will Ingeman, goaltender from Plymouth, played for Wayzata High School. Colton Jameson, a 6-foot defenseman from Hudson, Wisconsin. Alita Leopilti, forward from St. Paul, Minnesota, played at Cretin Durham Hall. Nathan Pilling from Calgary, Alberta, forward. Sam Rinaldo, a 5'10" forward from Rodgers, Minnesota. Luke Shelter, a 6'2" forward from Centennial, Colorado. Charlie Schoen, Lucas Van Fleet, from Livonia, Michigan, 6'2" forward. And then that wraps up them. So huge congratulations and welcome to them. It is worth noting, in addition to those 15 newcomers, the Tommies are returning 13 players that went 19, 14, and 5 last year. They will have to replace approximately 50 to 58 goals, 52% of all their goals scored, and 144 points, 49% of those points. So that is what we have for Tommie Town this week for you guys, which leads everybody to the favorite part of the podcast, Minny Weekend Bets. So this last week, we had a less than stellar week. We went 1-3. The Twins money line plus 172 over the Brewers did not hit. Not only did we lose, we got killed 17-6. The LA Dodgers was our one hit of the week. They beat Washington 7-5. And then the Pacers plus 7.5 did not hit. They in fact lost by 12, 103-91. Two of the Oklahoma City Thunders, and then obviously the Pacers money line didn't hit, as like I said. The Oklahoma City Thunder outright won the game, winning the championship, which brings our all-time record to 19-14, hitting at a 57.6 rate, which not great, but once again, we always bounce back. And before we get into our picks, before we get too far away from it, once again, I am not a financial advisor. All of these picks are based off of my opinions, my research, everything like that. So do with these picks what you will. I am not liable for any losses. And just like I will not come after you for any winnings, because I'm not responsible for those as well. And if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLING. So without further ado, the first pick of the day, I like Detroit, and I've noticed I haven't been giving you guys the picks right away, so I'm going to do a better job of giving you the picks and then going through kind of my analysis and then re-saying the pick. So the first one, Detroit Tigers minus 122 over the Twins tomorrow night. David Festa will start for Minnesota, and he appeared in 7 games, delivering an ERA of 6.39. He fans 22.4% with 10.5% walks, which are not great. Right now, we're not batting great. We're batting just 237 on the road. Detroit in their past 7 games has been batting 256, which isn't that much better. But I just think our bullpen these last couple games, over 7 games, has carried an ERA of 10.08. We're 7-18 on the road when facing a bullpen whip of 1.35 or lower. And I think the Tigers are 5-1 at home facing a team with that bullpen ERA. So like I said, give me Detroit minus 122. The second pick I like for you guys, all 3 of them are MLB picks this week, as we are now kind of in the summer sports. Maybe might sprinkle a WNBA pick or 2 here and there. But the second pick I like is Seattle Mariners and Texas Rangers under 8 runs in their game. Logan Gilbert is starting for Seattle. He has an ERA of 3.12. And then Nathan Evioli will start for Texas. In his 12 starts, has an ERA of 1.56. Both of these pitchers know how to strike out batters and know how to get guys out. Texas is batting 205 in their past 7 games. The Mariners bullpen in their last 6 has an ERA of 1.71. The Rangers bullpen in the past 27 games has an ERA of 2.26, and Texas is 18-0 to the under at home, and Seattle is 5-4 to the under on the road facing an AL starter. So like I said, I anticipate this being a relatively low scoring game, so give me the under 8 runs in the Seattle Mariners Texas Rangers game tomorrow night. And then lastly, I like the Miami Marlins money line plus 150 over the Arizona Diamondbacks. You got Erie Perez starting for Miami, and Merrill Kelly's getting the start for Arizona. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Miami's hitting 2.71 in their past 6 games with a bullpen ERA of 3.13. I think Arizona is batting a little bit worse against right-handed starters. They have the bullpen ERA of 5.48 at home. The Marlins right now, this is kind of the big reason, have won 8 out of 12 on the road with a plus 7.1 unit return. And Arizona's 9-10 at home against losing teams. So like I said, give me the Marlins 150 over the Arizona Diamondbacks. And then this week, I decided to go ahead and do, on top of the 3 picks for you guys this week, we have an additional 4 NFL future bets we're going to give you guys. So these are all going to be over, under. Didn't get really any questions, but got a lot of feedback from fans that you guys enjoy the over, under win totals. So I got 4 teams I'm going to hit you guys with today. If you have any other teams you want me to do, reach out. I'm more than happy to do a TikTok, Instagram reel, something like that for you guys. So just let me know and we'll get that going for you. Excuse me. So without further ado, the first one that I like is right here. The Carolina Panthers, I think, are going to hit the over 6.5 wins. Yes, you heard that right. Carolina, I really do believe, at the end of last season, kind of hit their stride. I'm not saying they're going to be this unbelievable team this year, but you saw them win 2 of their last 3 games, and really playing some good football in the last, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks. They barely lost to the Kansas City Chiefs, who won the thing. They almost beat Tampa Bay in overtime. Played Philadelphia really close, and then won 2 of their last 3 games. Again, I do not, they went 5-12, so I'm not anticipating them going 10 and whatever like that. But I think winning 7 or 8 games is very, very doable for them. If you look at their schedule, Jacksonville is very beatable. They're lucky they get to play New Orleans twice. I look at New England, they're beatable. Miami, they're beatable. The Jets are beatable. And that's 6 games right there. And then I think San Francisco honestly is going to take a step back. They can steal one from Tampa or Atlanta. I really think that they're going to take a step forward. But like I said, I think more than anything, they'll benefit from the fall of the Saints. And I think going 7-10, 8-9 wouldn't be a great season, but it'll be a step up from last year and would hit the over, obviously. The second one I am doing are the Chicago Bears under their 8.5 wins. I know a lot of Bears fans are going to be upset by this because they got Ben Johnson coming in, bringing back their Bears to the winning ways. They've added a lot of weapons to the offense in order to do so. Colston Loveland is an incredible addition. Luther Burden III is going to do some really fun things with Roma Dunze, with dynamic doing. But the problem with this team is, looking at the stats, they have the second toughest schedule this season, and the NFC North is probably one of the best, if not the best division in football. So again, looking at their schedule, they got to play Detroit twice. They got to play us twice. They got to play the Green Bay Packers twice. I mean, that's 6 games right there. Even if they win 3 of those, you split all 3 of them, you get those 3 wins. But then you gotta go to they gotta go to Washington. They gotta go to Baltimore. They gotta go to Cincinnati. They gotta go to Philadelphia. They gotta go to San Fran. I look at the schedule for them, and it is going to be daunting. I could very well see them going into that New Orleans game in week 7. What's that? 1, 2, 3, 4. I could see them going 1-4 into their 6 games. So, and again, these picks that I give you guys are never biased. I am a betting man, so if I tell you what I think is going to happen, it's genuinely what I think is going to happen. It's not because I don't like the Bears or don't like the Packers, don't like some of these teams, because I'm a Vikings fan. This is legitimately what I think is going to happen. And then third team, the Buffalo Bills. I'm going with the over 11.5 games. I know a lot of people are on the Buffalo Bills to kind of take a step back this year. Their defense got to make over bringing in Joey Bosa, which is going to be huge. A step back doesn't seem to be in the cards for this team, considering they get to play New England twice. They get to play Miami twice. Shit, who else in that division? Miami. And then the Jets twice. Truthfully, it'll be tough for them to, no doubt, it'll be tough for them to go. I think they were 14-3 again last season. But again, looking at their schedule, Baltimore, Kansas City, Cincinnati, Philadelphia, in my mind, those are the only 4 games that right now, looking at this, they should lose. Like I said, they get the Jets twice, they get Miami twice, they get New England twice, they get New Orleans, they get Atlanta, Carolina, who, again, they could put up a fight, but I think they should take care of them. They got Tampa Bay, Houston, who I think is going to take a step back, and that's already 11 right there. And then their next game, you can pick between Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Atlanta, whoever. I don't think they're going to go 14-3, but I think they will win at least 12 games. 12 to 13 kind of seems where I think they will end up with. And then my last one, I know, especially for my brother-in-law, I'm going to get some heat for this one, but I am going with the Philadelphia Eagles under 11.5 wins. I understand this is the defending Super Bowl champions. They're reloaded on defense. As they've used their first 5 picks on defensive players. I just don't think they're as impressive in the trenches anymore, despite their secondary being probably one of the best in the league. They do, in fact, have the 4th toughest schedule in the league, which could hold them back from reaching last year's win total of 14. But I expect them to, don't get me wrong, I still think they can very much win the division with 9, 10, 11 wins, getting to play Washington and Dallas. But again, let's just take a quick look at their schedule here. They got the Cowboys. They got the Cowboys twice. I understand they have the Giants, but they got the Chargers, who could be pretty good this year. They got Washington, who I think Washington is going to take a step up. Buffalo. I think Kansas, like I said, Tampa Bay could be a sleeper team, and even us, Green Bay and Detroit. I don't think it's going to be a cakewalk for them to get 11 or 12 or 13 wins. It's always, Super Bowl hangover. Is that going to happen? But yeah, so like I said, in conclusion, we kind of did them a little bit separate, or maybe I'll put them all together. But in conclusion, I like the Detroit Tigers money line minus 122 over the Twins, the Seattle Mariners and Texas Rangers to go under 8 runs, the Miami Marlins plus 150 over the Arizona Diamondbacks. And then for our futures, like I said, Carolina Panthers over 6.5 wins, Chicago Bears under 8.5 wins, Buffalo Bills over 11.5 wins, Philadelphia Eagles under 11.5 wins. I'm just now realizing that you guys probably have an eyesore for my backdrop today, and I do apologize about that. We are currently under renovations for the Minny Weekend bar studio area. Stay tuned for that. But yeah. And then, like anything else, quick shout out to our unofficial sponsor, but our really good friends over at UNRL. Unreal. I had somebody comment in the post that she was like, because I refer to them as UNRL, because that's the company, that's letters. But she's like, I thought it was pronounced as Unreal, and it is pronounced Unreal. Sometimes I just like to say it as the letters UNRL. It's neither here nor there. But yeah, huge shout out to them. We are rocking the Highlands quarter zip today, the Carmine Red. This was actually part of their red capsule drop, and very, very similar to the other quarter zip, kind of like the maroon looking one with crosses on it, just a different color scheme. I really like it. It's kind of got that buttery feel. It's one of the thinner ones, so I don't think putting a sweatshirt or wearing more like a thicker shirt or a thicker long sleeve underneath it if it's kind of cold out. But in the middle of summer, perfect for bonfire season, all that kind of fun stuff. And then we've had it on before, but tonight we are rocking the UNRL Golf Primary, Unreal Golf Primary hat, the Cadet Gray. And then you can't see them, but I'm actually rocking my eucalyptus elevation shorts. Super comfortable. like I've said, these guys are top of the line in athleisure as far as I'm concerned. Really unbelievable stuff, great material. They're really well to work with. As I started ordering more within the last couple of years, trying to find my sizes, they're super easy to work with if you get the wrong size. It's super easy to go onto their website, get an exchange. If it's something that you thought it was going to be and it wasn't, they're really easy to work with returns, exchanges, all that kind of stuff. But I guarantee you, the only problem you guys will have with these guys is that you didn't order more stuff. Like I said, I personally have not had any issues with anything. They wear forever. I still have, you guys have seen some of the shirts. I still have some hats and some like tees, shirts from them from so far back that they don't even make them anymore. And they wear and look just as good as when I first got them. So go check them out. Excuse me. UNRL.com. And for you golfers, they have a bunch of golf stuff. They got bags, all that kind of stuff. And you can find them on Facebook, X, Instagram, and LinkedIn as well. So go check them out. You will not be disappointed. Excuse me. So yeah, that is what we have for you guys for Unreal. And then getting into our professional sports. So we actually finally have some Minnesota Wild news. So just earlier today, Bill Guerin dealt forward Frederick Gaudreau to the Seattle Kraken in exchange for a 4th-round pick this upcoming weekend's draft. The pick from the Kraken is 102nd overall and gives the Wild 5 selections this weekend. They only have one number 52 overall in the second and also in the top 100, which is kind of crazy. Last year at 32, he had 37 points for us in 82 games, 18 goals, 19 assists. He has 3 years remaining on his contract with an AAV of $2.1 million. So he's not making a ton, but for $2.1 million, I don't think it's that, like, that's a good value for him. But I think he'll give the Kraken some veteran leadership and some veteran depth, whereas we're able to move off of another contract, try to get some more money to give to Kirill, hopefully this upcoming season or off season, and really try to go get some new faces in there and kind of shake things up for us. Gaudreau totaled 152 points, 61 goals, and 91 assists, and a +9 rating in 410 career games with the Nashville Predators from 16 to 19, Pittsburgh Penguins from 20 to 21, and the Minnesota Wild from 21 to 24. So obviously we thank him for everything he's done. But got to think about the future, right? Got to think about the future. Another thing I wanted to bring up doing the podcast today too, gives us a couple more things to talk about. But just earlier today, the NHL and NHLPA are in the final stages of agreeing to a 4-year extension of the CBA that includes a couple different things that I didn't even know were on the plate. An 84-game regular season, which seems kind of stupid, is providing a solution for emergency goalies and limits player contracts lengths to 7 years. The deal could be announced as soon as Friday, ahead of the NHL draft, but would still need to be signed by both sides and ratified. It says Bettman gave the Board of Governors detailed update at its meeting in LA on Wednesday, outlining the key issues. I didn't realize this. The current CBA expires after this upcoming season, and a 4-year extension would carry this league through September of 2030, which would mean no stoppage through 2030, which would be awesome. One of the biggest things I wanted to look into was the increased season. So moving, it says, from 82 to 84 games in the regular season would shorten the preseason to a maximum of 4 games instead of the current format of up to 8 preseason games, and it would allow the NHL to keep its regular format of every team visiting an opponent once while giving divisional rivals 4 games against each other every other season, which, like, look, I think there's definitely an appeal for every team to be able to get the opportunity to see every team in your home arena. At the same time, you see so many people go down with injuries. It would be nice. I would hope to see in the 2030s the season get brought down. And I'm not saying it needs to get brought down to 40 games. I'm not saying that. But seeing it brought down to somewhere maybe, high 50s to high 60s, you give guys more time off. Now I understand, the money and certain things like that, but you're not gonna you're not gonna make everybody happy. But I think at the end of the day, I think personally I would like to see less games. Like, don't get me wrong, I love having starting in October, I love having between the NFL, the NBA, and NHL, one of my teams playing every night, October, November, December, January, February, until the Super Bowl. And then the last thing I thought we would talk about is some Minnesotans top Minnesotans that will probably be taken between June 27th, Friday, tomorrow, later today, and Saturday in the 7-round NHL draft. And these are some of the top ones. Logan Hensler is one of the top commits and used to actually play for my alma mater and played with for sure one, maybe two of my cousins. He's from Woodbury, Minnesota, and has committed to the University of Wisconsin. And then after him, he ranks 10th, and then Mikhail Phillips is another defenseman from Wayzata who played at Benilde St. Margaret, going to Minnesota. Mason West from Edina. Edina High School is uncommitted. Mason Moe from Eden Prairie is committed to the University of Minnesota, which is pretty cool. And then Ashton Schultz from Victoria, Minnesota, played for Minnetonka. Sam Lorelia from Moorhead. Both of them have committed to North Dakota, as well as Cooper Simpson, a left wing from Shakopee who played at Shakopee High School. There's William Bell from Minnetonka who played at Shattuck, not in the MSHSL. He's going to Notre Dame. Brendan McMorrow from Lakeville played at Benilde St. Margaret. He's going to the University of Denver. Jacob Snevitsky from Burnsville, played for Wayzata, is going to the U of M. Nolan Road from White Bear Lake is going to St. Cloud State. Bobby Cohen from Edina is actually going to St. Thomas. Brent Solomon actually doesn't live too far from us in Champlin, played for Champlin Park. He's going to Wisconsin. Brooks Cullen from Moorhead, Minnesota is going to Michigan State. Nolan Gerdes from Rodgers is going to Western Michigan. And then Nolan Gerdes is ranked 168th. Between them, after Logan Hensler, the second-rated Minnesotan player is actually Cam Henriksen, a goalie from Chanhassen, Minnesota, who actually played for Chanhassen as well. And he's going to Connecticut, of all places. So I hope I didn't bore you guys too much, but always love to shout out local guys and gals, businesses, anything to do with Minnesota. So good luck to all of them. Hopefully most of these kids can get drafted. And can't wait to see what they all can do and make the state of Minnesota proud. So yeah, that's pretty much what we have for the hockey, for the Wild, and hockey. And then for the NBA, and the Timberwolves, the NBA draft just wrapped up a little bit ago, or a couple hours ago, something like that, I think. And the Minnesota Timberwolves didn't do terrible. ESPN gave them a B- between their two picks, and I actually don't hate that. We took Joan Berginger, a Slovenia, who I believe he is a center. Then our second guy we took was Rocco Zikarski, a 7'3" center. And this is what ESPN had to say. They said the Timberwolves can surely envision how Beringer, a low usage center who was a premier rim protector playing in Slovenia, will fit into their system. It's unrealistic to expect Beringer to become Rudy Gobert, a premier finisher with a wingspan measured 4 inches higher at the NBA Combine. But as Gobert ages, Minnesota will need a replacement and Beringer has a potential to fill that void. In the second round, they doubled down on that role by taking the 7'3" Zdarsky. The two players have remarkably similar projections, and it'll be interesting to see how Minnesota handles their simultaneous development. And I don't hate it. I know I say this a lot. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. I really would have liked to see us take like Johnny Brome, like a playmaking forward, to pair with Jade McDaniels, Nikhil Alexander-Walker, Naz Reid, whoever they're going to bring back here. But at the end of the day, again, I trust Tim Connolly. This guy got together the Denver Nuggets and made them who they are. And and all of those fun things. And then another thing I do want to say here is watch out, because you will see us in trade rumors, and we will definitely be making some trades. Obviously, we've already seen some big names go. We've seen the Desmond Bain thing happen, who got traded for KCP, Cole Anthony, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 first-round picks, one of them being a pick swap. We saw KD going to Houston. And then we saw Portland and Boston essentially trade Anfernee Simons for Drew Holiday straight up with 2 futures. Jordan Poole is now going to New Orleans. And then Kristaps Porzingis was a part of a 3-team trade. Georges Niang and a second-round pick go to the Boston Celtics. Atlanta gets Porzingis and a second-round pick. And Brooklyn gets Terrence Mann and a first-round pick in this upcoming year draft. And then a bunch of things happened during the draft. Nothing all that crazy. I know we moved on back in the second round, but I didn't really see anything of substance really in there for the NBA. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about was this last week, the NBA owners, it was officially actually signed in on the 24th, the $1.5 billion sale of the Minnesota Timberwolves from Glenn Taylor by Alex Rodriguez and Marc Lore. And I'm going to look straight into the camera when I say this. You can find this on TikTok. And for my brother who is listening, who thinks we're losing the team eventually, and for everybody else that thinks that, they have no desire to move this team. And believe me, this is coming from somebody who originally did not want them to buy the team and for this not to happen, because I did hear there were rumors that they wanted to move the team. The closer we got to making this deal happen, the more I realized it was actually the opposite. They think and want to build a new stadium. Obviously, there's lots of things that need to go into that. They need to find land, or they need to find a place to do it. They got to find all these things, and it's probably going to be, I would think, unless they have something in place and they're going to get going this summer, I would say it's going to probably be 4 to 6 years before we have a new stadium, if I'm being completely honest. But they want to stay here. Alex Rodriguez brought up his past and his experience that, hey, he knows how to win. He knows what it takes. He's ready to get that culture here and make those decisions. And yeah, I'm excited to see what they can do. I can't remember who is who, but one of them is like the main decision maker for the Lynx. The other one for the Lynx is like the second in command, and then is vice versa for the Timberwolves. So should be fun to see what they can do. And from the business standpoint of it, they've already come out saying that, hey, they trust Tim Connolly and they're going to make the best decisions hiring wise to put people in positions to do those jobs where they're not going to be handling as much of the basketball stuff as they are going to be doing like more of the business thing. So it should be really fun to see, and I can't wait to see their first couple things that they're going to do. I would be interested to see if in the midst of trying to build a new arena for the Timberwolves, they'll maybe try to do some remodeling or stuff. I don't know really what you can do with the Target Center. But again, it's going to be interesting. I can't wait to see it myself. And yeah, and then lastly, the NFL. There's really no new news for the Vikings. It's actually crazy. I meant to bring this up earlier. But again, I want to paint this picture for you guys. And this, again, is not me wishing the summer away. I am well aware that we're almost halfway through. But guys, we're 35 days away from the Hall of Fame game that kicks off the preseason for the NFL. We're 58 days away until the first night of college football games. We're 63 days away from Tommie and Gopher football starting. 70 days away until the NFL is back, and 74 days until the Vikings are back. That means we are less than 2.5 months away from being fully submersed in college football and NFL football. And again, this is less of a testament as to I can't wait for this time to go by throughout the summer, and more of a testament that holy shit, this has happened that fast. So yeah, with that, painting that picture, like I said, there's really no new news on the Vikings. But one of the things I kind of wanted to talk about, we talked about this person a couple weeks ago, But Aaron Rodgers was recently on the Pat McAfee show, and essentially, like, I've seen this. I don't know if you guys have seen it. I urge you, go to Netflix and watch his watch his documentary. It's called Enigma, and it'll make you look at him in a different light, especially as a Vikings fan. But on the Pat McAfee show, he essentially told these guys this is his last year, and he essentially said there's a reason they only made it a 1-year contract. There was no need to add extra years onto it. So it'll be interesting to see him go out. It's crazy to think, just like in the NBA and the NHL, but also in the NFL, the Aaron Rodgers, the Peyton Mannings, all these quarterbacks that we grew up. I mean, and I say we, when I say we, I mean us, between 40 and 28-year-old, like the quarterbacks that we grew up with. It's weird. It's weird. And it'll be interesting and fun to watch him go through the season, because it's going to be a lot of lasts and they're going to probably be talking about it. So just kind of take it with a grain of salt. But it'll be fun because we actually get to play him in his last season. So hopefully against this guy, we can get the last laugh. That would be really fun to see. But yeah, like I said, let's get excited. It's going to be another fun season. Hopefully we can beat Aaron Rodgers one more time. It's kind of heartfelt too, because at this point you kind of hope, okay, even though they got to go up against Cincy twice, even though they got to go up against Baltimore twice, you kind of hope that they can eke into a playoff spot, so that we can see him in the playoff one more time and see if he can actually make a run or not. But like I said, it's going to be a fun season. You guys know the deal. Go hit that subscribe button on YouTube so you can get notified of the new episodes as soon as they come out. Also, go to wherever you may listen to the podcast as well, so you can get notified when it comes out. And lastly, make sure you go to TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and find us on all social media platforms. Reach out with questions, interact with our stuff, because once again, this podcast is kind of for you guys. Until next time, Minny.